My guest today is Tim Moore. Tim, how are you, sir?
I am doing extraordinarily well, David. How are you?
I'm doing great. My only regret is that we were both in Detroit a couple of weeks ago for the Michigan Dev Fest, and we didn't meet in person. But we're
No.
going to correct that today. We're meeting virtually for the first time. Then my first question is, what do you do for a living?
I am a current founder and CEO of a company called Clixie.ai, which is a company that uses AI to create and add engagements and interactivity to things like training content for videos, things like licensing, certification, and higher education.
Oh, how long have you been doing that?
This is actually, I've been the CEO now for about 2 years. It was a family company. My father was CEO prior to myself. Fortunately, he passed away about 2 years ago, and I've been the CEO for two, but president of the company for 9 years before that. I've been through multiple startups and exits as well as a founder. I'm an entrepreneur in residence for the Birmingham Angels Cityside Ventures, which means I sit in and advise on deal flow. So I've got a unique perspective from being both a founder and a funder. Also helped teach at the University of Michigan with Professor Brophy for finance and entrepreneurship. Am a core member of Black Tech Saturdays, Michigan Founders Fund, and I do a lot of coaching and other things I won't talk about.
What about your spare time? What do you do in your spare time?
Well, I'm happily married. I have adult children that are grown. My oldest son just got married about 6 weeks ago, so that was a lot of fun. But
Congratulations.
I bike, like bicycle, a great deal. Although not right now when it's sub-zero, but during the summer, to do 10 miles a day, 40, 50 miles in a day on the weekend is about my normal.
That's a lot. Awesome. Well, that's interesting. So your company's more than 9 years old and it's focused on AI. So it sounds like you've pivoted
I did.
recently. Yes, because although AI is much older than 9 years, it's the recent hype around it, the recent interest in it has grown a great deal, and you've embraced that. It sounds like.
Absolutely. And so it's a really good point, and it's very insightful that you pick up on that because what AI allows folks to do today that are in business is allows them to disrupt their own way of doing things. And that's where innovation and excitement comes in, is when you've got that ability to do change. So we had a platform for 9 years that allowed people to come in and, as an author, add interactivity to their video content, add interactive bookmarks, smart cards, all these other things, adaptive learning. But when AI came out, we realized that this was a unique opportunity for us to simplify and make our platform much more efficient and useful for our users. So we adapted AI, and instead of building like large language models or small language models or agents right now, what we simply did was use commercial AIs that are available and daisy chain them together to basically replace a human author within our system.
Like a stand on the shoulders of giants. You use what's out there.
Exactly.
I think the audience for this is going to be other entrepreneurs, people that have a business and they're hearing about the I call it the hype, but a lot of the interest and the advancements in agentic AI and generative AI, and they're asking themselves, how does this fit my business? It's a question that you wrestled with and you answered a couple of years ago. What are the challenges for these startup founders?
Well, you identified it. The biggest challenge right now is simply all the noise. It's trying to drink from the fire hose of AI. What is AI? What does it mean? Who should I be using? What are what is an LLM model, by the way, in the first place? And so, just to kind of take it back for a second, when we say the words AI today in common conversation, when we're in the media, what people are really talking about typically is ChatGPT from OpenAI, which
Sure.
is the most widely adapted, what we would call a large language model, which means that you're actually able to engage with it in what we call a no code fashion, which means you can ask it questions and it will respond as though another human being is answering your question with this wealth of knowledge behind it. So it's the next generation of our Google searches, and it actually tries to anticipate the things that we're needing, which is very useful and very helpful. So that is most people's entry point into AI, is to work with OpenAI and ChatGPT to be able to ask it simple questions. But for business owners and founders, It's way, way, way more than that. It's a lot more than that. And what we need to be doing is looking at ways that we can use existing AI or things that are out there and look at our businesses and say, how can we do things more efficiently, better, and faster? And I will give you a concrete example of this rather than talking in generalities and specifics. There has been a significant decrease in the amount of capital that is required by a startup founder in areas of software development, because primarily when a new founder was coming into an angel, a VC fund, somebody that has capital, they were saying, I need money, please, to create what you call your minimally viable product, MVP. Although I would argue that you really need to create what's called a minimally lovable product, an MLP. And so I think that that's much better for the market. But the tools and the software that are out there today, you can use those as a founder. And all of a sudden, using Microsoft Copilot, it's like you had a 5-year senior Microsoft developer at your side helping you to build something. So that is one of the things that AI can do and help us as founders. It can reduce the time and the capital required to bring our products to market much, much faster.
Right. So they no longer have the burden of creating their own large language model. They can use the ones that are out there, like the open AI tools from that are built into ChatGPT.
Exactly. And so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
Oh well, I'm wondering what's so, but not everybody's doing this. What are the barriers that are preventing them from moving forward?
Most of the barriers are simple confusion and lack of clarity and lack of knowledge. Ignorance is not stupidity. It means you just don't know something, and it can be cured pretty quickly by knowledge. And so you have to decide for yourself, are you going to try to be the master of your own ship, if you will, and try to figure out what your AI strategy for your company will be, working internally with your team to find things that are available out there? One of the best ways to find out how to use ChatGPT in your business is ask ChatGPT how to use it in your business, and it will tell you. So use, and that's the funny thing about it, is you can ask these large language models, how should I best use you? And that is a good place to start. And it'll say, who are you? And say, I am a human being that has a company that is trying to achieve X with the tools of Y and Z. How can I get into market A with these things? And it will say, you can use me to help streamline your processes here and there and other things. And then you can start exploring that. Now, on the other hand, the other option to this is that you can go to a trusted integrator or someone that is already working with AI, and you can essentially outsource or contract with somebody that's a thought leader in this space that will help show you what are the things that you can do that are available.
And so, uh, addressing the knowledge, maybe sparking some ideas. And now I'm a founder. I've got an idea how I can apply this technology to my business. What's next?
So when the applying the technology to your business is, first of all, you have to understand what your business is, and then you have to be able to explain it out. So then now you've got some idea. For example, okay, I know that I want to be able to automate my inbound sales calls. And then I say, well, how am I supposed to do that? Well, and then I say, well, obviously it requires intersection at the point of the attendant when somebody was either going to receive a call, take a call, whatever. And then so I would have to say, oh, I need to get an agent that would help me in this space, that would be able to act like a human being and triage these calls. And so now I'm looking for an auto attendant agent. And then I could search, and I can do a search inside of Google. I could do a search inside of ChatGPT, Anthropic, or any of these others and say, tell me about agents that can do auto attendant and can route calls to me. And that way I can typically find something that's already been built and I can try it out for myself to see if it's something useful. So experimentation is my answer to you. That's what's next. You need to try things, and I don't call it failure. I call it iterating and iterating forward. If you find something that doesn't work, then you continue to build on it. And most people's entry points are simple AI applications that they incorporate in their business. Then they realize they can do so much more that they don't have the tools. And at that point, they contact the integrator or the support system or the subject matter expert in AI, and then ask them for some assistance after they see the results.
Right. Recognizing where my own skills are lacking and then bringing that expertise in from outside to fill in those gaps.
Yes, and I've never found the me that's stronger than the we. I keep looking for it, but I haven't found
Be stronger than I like it. I'm
it.
totally going to steal that.
Sure,
I
so I
was
give it
looking
to
through
you.
you give this presentation. I know you said you gave it yesterday in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there I'm looking at the slide deck here, and you mentioned things like accelerators, enablers, transformers. Can you speak a little bit about that?
So you have a lot of different ideas and things that you can do within specifically within AI for your business. And there's a lot of things that can also help you to decide what your business needs. So you can have things like that are business accelerators out there, or even pre-accelerators that can offer you professional assistance and advice to startup founders. And a great example of an accelerator or a pre-accelerator is the Michigan Founders Fund pre-accelerator, which is powered by Generator. They will bring a founder in, and they will understand your business. They will help you to figure out what AI works best for your business. They will give you coaching. They will help you build pitch decks. And then they will give you $15,000 and point your feet on the direction of go this way. And so those are opportunities for really early startup founders that are trying to find their North Star to work with an accelerator, a pre accelerator, or some of these other catalysts that can help them to define what their path will be. So again, that we being stronger than the me.
Wow, that sounds too good to be true. They're going to give me some assistance in building my solution, and they're going to give me money. What's the catch?
The catch is your time. That's it. It's you have to be committed to this as a founder. And that's actually one of the things that I do within my mentoring groups and other folks is I try to connect founders with non-dilutive funding. Things that are grants, things that are pre-accelerators, things that are business accelerator funds, things that come out of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation that we can be given to founders, or pitch pits. So we as founders always think that we have to run out and go get funding from venture capitalists, angel folks, and other things. Actually, that's not true. The best way to get funding is through sales. And if you're struggling with that, then getting some assistance with grants and other things are very easy. And if anybody's ever looking for the source of where you can find some of this information on LinkedIn, I recommend following Bryce Kaiser, Kaiser, first name Bryce. He does a lot of the startup events. He reports on a lot of the activities and happenings in the state of Michigan, which is phenomenal. And the other one, which is my best source of non-dilutive funding for founders, is Black Tech Saturdays. They publish about once a week a list of grants, funds, programs, pitch competitions, and other things that people can apply for and their deadlines.
Oh, send me the links to these things you're talking about. I will add them to the show note, please.
Happy to.
Excellent. Um, Now, there's nothing is about risk. Talk a little about the risk of implementing AI in my business solution.
Okay, so number one, if you don't have an AI policy in place, you have one, you just don't know it. And the policy is that your employees are bringing in their cell phones and they're using ChatGPT when you're not looking. And then you have a problem because you have a leak in your privacy and data bucket. And so,
Hmm.
what needs to be done, and the most important thing that I can tell anybody about AI in business is your information needs to stay your information. If you go out onto ChatGPT to the website and you don't have a subscription, then anything you tell it will be used for everybody else in the entire universe that uses that product. So it's able to learn off your data. It will give your data to other people, and that's not what you want. So if you're creating something for yourself, you need to get into what we would say a private instance, or also known as a small language model, not a large language model, a small language model. What does that mean? That means instead of having an AI focused on every single thing in the universe with the repository of knowledge, I'm pointing it directly at the knowledge for my company, my business, my verticals, and it's going to train and learn only on that data and never, ever, ever share it with anybody else. That allows things like financial institutions, hospitals, government agencies to use AI because then you can have your security and privacy. And a lot of people don't know this, but ChatGPT 5.1 or ChatGPT for Business is high-tech HIPAA compliant out of the box, which means that you have your data protection, all those things. You don't need to recertify it. It can actually greatly accelerate a founder's time to market if they're using ChatGPT, because it's already been verified that your data and your security are private.
Good to know. I like the fact that you are looking at this from multiple perspectives. You are a business owner, an entrepreneur, and you also are an investor, an angel investor. And so you've seen this from both sides. What, in looking at the industry, what do you think are the next opportunities for AI?
Yay. Okay, so I'm really excited about this because our fund, the fund that I work with as the entrepreneur in residence, we are starting to look in a new area, in a new vertical, which I'm very excited about, which is women's health and women's tech. We believe that there is an extraordinary amount of greenfield for disruptive innovation in that space, especially using AI. There's products out there like Mina Rosa that are coming to market, which use light to identify where you have UTIs. There's Lindsay Josephs out there, who's an amazing rock star female founder with a product called Bed Connect. She just won just shy of about $500,000 in the Pitch Michigan competitions and A2360 with her product and her company called Bed Connect. So we're investing heavily into women's health, women's tech, women's biotech, also hard tech, what we call manufacturing tech, which is an area which is ripe for disruption. So what do I mean by that? I mean, how do you use technology in something that's hard tech? Well, how about doing new and innovative ways using AI to show the most efficient ways to create headlights for Humvees and tanks for the Army? And that is not theoretical. That is a fact. We are invested in a company called MagWorks that does just that. Because we believe too, Michigan is going to be the epicenter for a lot of the manufacturing that's been coming through, in at least for the foreseeable next couple of years. There's a lot of onshoring going on. There's a lot of people coming here. And we've been told, and I believe this after going to the Reindustrialize conference over the summer, Michigan will be the hub for drone manufacturing. And when most people think drone, they think of these little toys that you get to fly in the air. That is not correct. That is one kind, but a drone is anything that flies, crawls, rolls, or swims. So we're talking automated, like EV trains. And I'm not making this up. This is the stuff Intramotive. That's what they're doing. Submarines that are piloted from drones. So this enormous industry that's going to impact the entire world is going to be epicentered where we are today. And so we look at opportunities like that, and not only just for the manufacturing, but what are the platforms that manage that? A great example was a company that had a very unique and novel way of managing drone swarms, which I thought was really cool. And so you could actually use it intelligently, like managing a swarm of bees. So those are the types of things that I see really us looking forward into. And I'm absolutely going to say, look at platforms that manage agents. So our future right now, what we're going into, we need to be able to be comfortable with working with non-human entities. And it sounds silly to say it, but it's so true. So I have an AI auto attendant called Ava. When it is exactly that. Ava will have a conversation with you if I'm not there. She will ask you what you need. My family is not comfortable with talking to her, and they asked me to take it off. And I said, guys, you're gonna have to get used to this. This is the way of the world. And so that's the virtual non-human entity. Wait until we get into the humanoid entities where you've got the robotics involved now, cybernetics, and a lot of other things that are going to really blow people's minds. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a brave new world, and we've got a lot coming at us.
Awesome. Do you think there's anything we have not yet discussed that's critical for our viewers to hear?
Don't be afraid of artificial general intelligence yet. The biggest and most scariest thing about AI is the concern that the artificial general intelligence is going to take over the world. I mean, I guess anything's possible at the end of the day, but it's just basically we're going to need to understand that we will not be the only intelligent species on this planet anymore, and we're going to have to be okay with that. And we created it, so I guess it's up to us to manage it. But be careful with AI. Make sure to use the right tools. Don't be afraid to experiment. And more than anything else, use AI to back check AI. And I'll give you an example of a story. Thanksgiving, I was with my family, and I actually told this story yesterday in Grand Rapids at my keynote. And I said, I want everybody in the audience that's used AI to solve an argument in your family to raise your hand. And at least 45 to 65% of the audience raised their hand. So I think it was right around half, right? And so I did the same thing. We were sitting around the table, and I said, was Westland Mall named after the city, or was the city Westland named after the mall? Okay. This is a big deal. And I live close by to Westland. So it's kind
Okay.
of funny. And so it got this whole conversation going. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to settle this. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. And I get ChatGPT and I say, which was first? And ChatGPT comes back emphatically and says, this is a common misconception. The city of Westland was incorporated before the Mall of Westland, and there is absolutely no truth in the fact that the city was named after the mall. And it gave us dates when the mall was created and when the city was created. And I triumphantly hold this up and I give this data to everybody. And I say, argument solved. And my son says, but Dad, it's wrong.
It might
And
be.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, it's wrong. And I did a Google search and it was completely wrong. It had the dates wrong. It had when things were incorporated wrong, but it was emphatic that it was correct. So
Ah,
argue with your AI. Don't be afraid to call it a jerk and know you're not giving me the right answers that I'm asking for. And there's one more thing I want to encourage people to do as a takeaway for founders in business and for everybody. Don't be polite to your AI.
oh,
Don't say please and thank you. I am Midwest nice. When I'm talking, I can't help myself. I'm saying, can you please help me with this? And it gives me response and I say thank you. I'm burning up the environment. I'm using credits and tokens that need electricity, they need water, and it's harder on our environment. So they're saying if you want to save the planet, be rude to your AI.
words of wisdom. So I'll take from that be rude, and then the trust but verify part of it. That AI is good, but it's not perfect. It's not dogma.
Great quote by Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. Trust but verify. Use it frequently. Well done.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you so much for your time. This has been really educational. I appreciate it.
Well, it's been a great deal of fun for me, David, and I look forward to meeting you in person and buying you a beverage.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You got it. Friends don't let friends use technology when they're drinking.